To see or not to see, that is the question as we check out the best film adaptations of Shakespearean plays. I'm Amy Jobson and you're watching The Briefcase. The way you are introduced to Shakespeare's work can make or break your relationship with the famous playwright. Pulling apart every line of iambic pentameter during English class doesn't sound like much of a first date, but watching Leo decked out in armour could have you hooked for life. There are more than 400 film adaptations of William Shakespeare's plays. Here's a few you should check out.
Go to the Goths and raise an army there. And in the Emperor's court there is a queen. Would murder. Stop her!
Let's begin with Shakespeare's bloodiest play, Titus Andronicus. This tale was adapted by Tony Award-winning director Julie Taymor in 1999. Titus starred Academy Award winner Anthony Hopkins, who lit up the big screen with some scenes I'm going to liken to Hannibal. This film contains vivid imagery and an outstanding ensemble cast including Jessica Lange, Harry Lennox and a young Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. In this epic tale of revenge, Titus, a Roman general, executes the son of an enemy queen. But unfortunately for him, she soon marries the Roman emperor. Talk about putting your sword in it. This is a clever modern reimagining of a classic tale. You've got Roman soldiers next to rock stars, chariots next to cars, and swords next to guns. According to the director, this was to emphasize the timelessness of violence.
Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint.
The Tempest is thought to be the last play Shakespeare wrote alone, and there's been a bunch of film adaptations. Our pick is 1991's Prospero's Books, and it can be summed up in one word: daring. Or should that be odd? As you'd expect in any art film, there's a lot of nudity, but with all the crazy dance scenes, intense imagery and symbolism throughout the film, it just feels right. For those unfamiliar with the story, Prospero lures his enemies to his remote island and plots to restore his beloved daughter Miranda to her rightful place using illusion and manipulation. Sir John Gielgud turned to cinema halfway through his 8-decade-long career, and he steals the show in this one. Prospero's Books was his last film appearance in a leading role. Prospero was a character he became very familiar with during his stage career, and this film satisfied Gielgud's life's ambition.
I will fight against my country.
And then men die.
This next one ain't just on the list because Ray Fiennes is amazing and this is his directorial debut. There's other cool stuff too. Fiennes is a huge Shakespeare fan with a huge history of stage and film performances. I mean, he was an actor in the Royal Shakespeare Company, for God's sake. Oh, thou hast forsaken thy tongue. I don't even know if that's right. Anywho, we're treated to some bloody violence in Coriolanus. This tragedy has been described as exhibiting the manly side of Shakespeare. Coriolanus, a hero of Rome, despises his people. Banished following a riot, he takes up swords with his sworn enemy, played by Gerard Butler, and plots revenge on the city. It's a bloodthirsty take on war and pride, and it's oh so good.
To be or not to be.
Oh look, another tragedy! This one is the longest of Shakespeare's plays and contains one of the most famous and commonly used lines of all time. Hamlet is certainly one of Shakespeare's most popular works. Hamlet has a tough gig on his hands. His uncle Claudius murdered his dad, King Hamlet, and shacks up with his mum, so it's up to the prince to seek revenge. There's been countless adaptations, but it was the 1996 Filmic adaptation that has our hearts. Directed, written by and starring Kenneth Branagh, Hamlet scored 95% on the tomato meter. It was nominated for 4 Oscars, including Best Adapted Screenplay, which everyone finds funny because it literally contains every word of the play. It looks good, it sounds good, it is good.
Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, that thy skill be more to blaze in it, and sweeten with thy breath this neighbour air.
Finally, the play that Shakespeare is perhaps most famous for, and a work that has weaved its way seamlessly into pop culture. A tale of star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. Today's youth will be most familiar with Baz Luhrmann's on-screen interpretation, which has become an iconic and inventive adaptation. It's one of my most favourite films, however, it is the 1968 version that stands atop the balcony. Filmmaker Franco Zeffirelli cast 2 teenagers in the role just as Shakespeare had intended. Olivia Hussey was just 16 and Leonard Whiting 17. Both won awards for Most Promising Newcomer at the Golden Globes. A film renowned for its enchanting visuals, Zeffirelli didn't rely completely on the original dialogue. Instead, the dialogue was the driving force for action in this exciting portrayal. Zeffirelli was one of the most daring and controversial filmmakers at the time, and this approach helped capture all the passion and youthfulness of this timeless tale. Have I left out some of your favourites? Let us know by commenting on social media. I'm Amy Jobson, and like as the waves make towards the pebbled shore, so do our minutes hasten to their end.